Welcome to the class of Ethical Issues in Research for the course Research Methods and Legal Writing for the LLM program at Galgotias University. The prerequisites of this course are Basics of Indian Constitutional Law, Basics of Jurisprudence, and Basics of Social Sciences and Law. The objective of this particular lecture is to study research ethics, to study how ethical issues and challenges are relevant in the area of social legal research, and number 3, to study the ethical breaches in research, and number 4, to discuss the relevancy of ethical principles for social science research. To begin with, let's understand why ethical issues are important in social science researches. To understand it better, first of all, we need to see and think what the social science involves. The social science necessarily involve studies of real people in real situation, and this raises ethical questions regarding the relationship between the researcher and the subject, privacy issues for the subjects, questions of the exploitations of subjects, and so on. Research ethics in the social and physical sciences involves investigating the action of individuals and their interaction with others and their environment under varying conditions. Now let's have a look at how ethics is relevant for research. To understand how ethics is relevant for social sciences research and how it can be accommodated in social science research, it is pertinent to understand what exactly social science is. Social science is the activity of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting information for a variety of social, economical, educational, and political purposes. Researchers need a critical understanding of a range of social science methods and styles to solve the desired problem of the society. Now, let's see what exactly ethics are. Ethics are the norms for or code of conduct that distinguishes between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Ethics can be personal, social, cultural, national, or religious. Now the question is, where do we learn ethics from? Well, we have learned, every human being learn ethics from various institutions. To begin with, from his home, his or her home, family, society. Most of the people acquire their sense of right and wrong during childhood. The moral development occurs throughout life and as human beings pass through different stages of growth as they mature. And during this gradual progression, they learn and they keep on learning relevant ethics pertaining to various aspects and dimensions of their life. Now, an important question is ethics and law the same thing? No, not necessarily. Sometimes an action may be legal but unethical, or illegal or legal but ethical. For example, the law related to Unlawful Prevention Act, wherein a person can be detained and can be jailed for a period of up to 6 months without giving any right to bail or without giving any legal justification as to why that particular person has been jailed is a is one good example of something which is unethical but legal. Unethical because as a human being, that accused have a right to bail and have a right to know why the person have been arrested. So in that way it is unethical, but it is legal. Why? Because under the National Securities Act and under more specifically under the Unlawful Prevention Act, the law permits and allows a person to be detained and to be behind the bars in the interest of national security without assigning any reason as to why the person has been in jail. Let's take another example of an act which is unethical but in a way not illegal. Adultery, which has been an offense and which has been rejected by all the personal laws, be it Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, everywhere adultery is not appreciated. But by virtue of the judgment delivered by the Honorable Supreme Court in 2018 in the Joseph Shine case, adultery is no more a punishable offense now. It is just a civil wrong. In that case, that adultery is no doubt in that way an unethical act, but in that way it is something which is not punishable. Now a question is, why ethical norms should be adhered for research? Because following ethical norms in research promotes research, knowledge, truth, and avoidance of error. For example, prohibition against fabricating, falsifying, or misrepresenting research data promotes the truth and avoid error. Secondly, as research involves a great deal of cooperation and coordination between different people, institutions, groups, many of the ethical standards promote the value that are essential to collaborative work such as trust, accountability, mutual respect, and fairness. Thirdly, many ethical norms in research, such as guidelines for authorship, copyright, and patent policies, etc., promotes and safeguard intellectual property rights. And finally, many of the norms of research promotes a variety of other moral and social values, responsibility, human rights, and animal welfare, etc. Research ethics and other ethical issues and challenges in the area of socio-legal research. There are several questions which can be raised with respect to ethical dimensions of research. For example, what moral principles guide your research? How do ethical issues enter into your selection of a research problem? Then, how do ethical issues affect how do you conduct your research, the design of your study, your sampling procedure, etc. Further, one should also think over that is your research directly going to benefit those who participated in the study? Because we need to understand as a researcher that how well the research is able to meet obligation to the society in the form of developing high scientific standard to be used for the benefit of the society. How research is meeting obligation to the funder and employer, how one is able to balance out the commitment of providing good quality output with no compromise on research ethics and morality. Obligation to colleagues in the form that the methods, the opinion, and the findings to be left open to collegial review, and obligation to subjects, that is, all the subjects who are involved and who have agreed to participate in the research process, their privacy, etc., and their voluntary participation shall be encouraged. Moving on further, the other ethical breaches in research are plagiarism, fabrication, falsification, blind hypothesis, favorable data, falsified data, and sabotage. There are some other unethical considerations which can further be seen in case of research and publication. For example, uninformed consent to participate in research studies, wherein the purpose of research, the expected duration and procedure, the incentives, or any prospective research benefits to the subjects have not been disclosed. Let's discuss the last aspect of this particular course and the topic, that is how and why ethical principles for social science research are relevant. The reasons are that they maximize the essentiality, maximization of public interest and social justice. Number three, knowledge, ability, and commitment to do research, sincere commitment to research in general and to the relevant subject in particular are essential prerequisites for good and ethical research. Number four, respect and protection of autonomy, rights, and dignity of participants. Next is non-exploitation of students and junior members. Next is privacy, anonymity, and confidentiality. Then precautions and risk management, public domain, accountability and transparency, and totality of responsibility is expected from the researchers. There are some unethical deviations which could be seen in certain aspect at the time of publication. For example, submitting the same paper to different journals without telling the authors is a publication misconduct. Number two, not informing a collaborator of your intent to file a patent in order to make sure that you are the sole inventor of is again a big and a severe publication misconduct. Number three, including a colleague as an author on a paper in return for a favor, even though the colleague did not make a serious contribution to the paper, is another publication misconduct. Then, using inappropriate statistical techniques in order to enhance the significance of your research is another misconduct. Conducting a review of the literature that fails to acknowledge the contributions of the other people in the field of relevant prior work is another misconduct. Giving the same research project to two graduate students in order to see who can do it the fastest and the best is, is an unethical act on the part of the faculty. Overworking, neglecting, or exploiting graduates or postgraduate students and utilizing their work, their hard work for one's own benefit is again an unethical act on the part of the faculty. I hope this would have been useful. Thank you so much. For further reference, please refer to the textbooks and the links there in the PPT itself. Thank you so much.